Snoop Dogg says, "My bad for controversial comments." After a week of backlash, Snoop Dogg is taking responsibility for his controversial comments about Pixar's Lightyear. The rapper sparked outrage after recounting on the It's Giving podcast that watching the film with his grandson left him feeling scared to go to the movies because he didn't know how to answer the boy's questions about a same-sex couple shown on screen. "Papa Snoop, how she have a baby with a woman? She's a woman," he recalled his grandson asking. Caught off guard, Snoop admitted he thought, shit, I ain't come here for this shit. I just came here to watch a goddamn movie." The scene in question features Space Ranger Alicia Hawthorne kissing her wife, with the couple later seen cradling their child. Though brief, the moment was groundbreaking for Disney, marking both its first prominent LGBTQ plus character and its first same-sex kiss. At the time of release, the scene was nearly cut from the film until a wave of Pixar employees demanded it be restored. Following the criticism that his podcast remarks were homophobic, Snoop turned to Instagram to clarify, posting beneath a Hollywood Unlocked video in which trans entertainer T.S. Madison challenged his comments. The rapper admitted his mistake. "I was just caught off guard and had no answer from my grandsons. All my gay friends know what's up. They've been calling me with love. My bad for not knowing the answers for a 6-year-old. Teach me how to learn. I'm not perfect."
Okay, so I should mention that where is it? That so as everyone knows, I'm an avid reader of Pink News, and so they reported this. Snoop Dogg's rep says Star's response to backlash over the LGBTQ comments is fake. Rapper Snoop Dogg has not responded to backlash against his recent remarks about LGBTQ plus TQ plus representation on screen, according to his representatives, despite a viral comment purporting to be written by the Star. So they're saying,
he's saying that's not him.
That's not him. The Instagram post wasn't him, but it was the comments of T.S. Madison that struck me. And sorry, I'm looking for it here.
We all know and care about T.S. Madison.
Yeah, T.S. Madison weighs in. Was it swipe left?
Based on that look, she hasn't weighed in for a while.
Let me see. Okay, so we got that part. Well, yeah, it was something about being normalized and something like that. Maybe I'm reading the comment wrong, but
that's go ahead. Kind of the rub. No, because that is the rub of it. When we were talking with Bo the other day, and we mentioned this for a second, the look on his face. When you say you're not ready to start that conversation with a child, what they hear is it would be the equivalent of like if it was a white man and a black woman together, and you like, well, I'm not ready to have that conversation. And to them, it's like, but that's just reality. People, that's how normalized they want to see it. But the reality is that's not the same, because as we talked about on I think the last verses, most people are born straight, and it's always going to be that way. And so things like that, while representation is important, that's always going to be a niche audience. And when you try to make it mainstream and normalize it across the board, that's when you start getting this disconnect and pushback, and it feels like propaganda, because it is.
Yeah, it goes to, I remember, so when my daughter was starting elementary school and going to school with her white friends, the point I bring up is, I didn't feel the need to have to teach her about racism at a young age.
Yeah.
I didn't feel the need that all throughout elementary school that she needed to learn that people were racially different, which she could clearly see. But I didn't feel the need to teach her that about white privilege, about how the fact that all her friends, her parents wish you weren't around, or things like that. These are really dumb things because none of it's true. Mm-hmm. And also the idea that I wanted to teach my daughter to accept her friends and her family as themselves, to judge them by their character and not by the color of their skin. And so we just never talked about, that they're different, or that you're different, or that somehow their difference means something more than you. That being white was something that was a privilege to them. I just needed her to just be a good person and make friends. And that's what she did. She had a very diverse group of friends. The same thing happened to me. My parents, my entire life, we have never talked about racism and race. Even up to my mom's death and even to today, we never talked about white people this, white people that. I didn't really learn about racism until I got to college. It's the fact that you don't. What's important is not who your child is and what caste system they find themselves in. You just need them to grow up to be good people. You need them to grow up to be, to learn, to be disciplined. All these other things, they'll figure it out on their own. If they're gay, they'll figure out they're gay on their own. I don't need someone to come in and try to, convince them otherwise, which is a whole other story. And, I get it with Lightyear. Yeah, it's not a Disney film that it shouldn't be Disney's job to force a conversation between parents.
Yeah. Which they admitted. I remember the articles where they said that's not our job. It's like, oh, well, now sorry, continues. But so they do know it's an issue.
Yeah. And I think, I remember, there was that time. So it was Lightyear, then it was Strange World, where you had your first teen gay love story in it. And look, there's a reason why people didn't show up to either movie. There was also a time when people asked the question about any film coming out of Disney, is it safe? There was a time where you could just drop your kids off at the theater, which my parents certainly did. It's a Disney movie, so it's safe. And so I go in, watch it, and had a good time, and nothing. That question, the fact that parents have to ask that question nowadays says something about just how far Disney has fallen. It is not up to, if studios want to make money, they will play to the audience and not preach to the audience. And I think that's what hopefully the lesson Disney is learning, and the jury is still out if they've done that.
Yeah. Well, also, Alan, it sounds like you were raised very similar to the way I was. Like when people say racism didn't exist, of course it did, but we were so over it that it was a rarity, and it would be widely mocked if anyone actually came out and was a hardcore racist. Yeah. I also was raised that it doesn't matter what your skin color, ethnicity, sexuality is. It only matters the content of your character and how you treat people's. All that matters. But the problem is somewhere in there, they turned it and it was like, oh no, all that matters is your skin color. Unless you're white and then you're the demon. And then they turned it all in their head in this weird victim oppression Olympics, and trying to and they successfully restarted issues that had long since been moved past. So now you can't do a Will and Grace. This is what we're talking about with Bo DeMeo. We're like, how do you fix it? Well, unfortunately, you lost ground. We had Will and Grace. We had all those. We can't do that anymore. For a while, we need to do formula, family friendly, because you alienated everyone. You actively regressed your movements.
Yeah. Well, the goal of equality is gone. Yeah. It's not there anymore. It's revenge. It's reparations.
It's punishment.
It's the, I think we were on a good path. Growing up, there was black television. Wasn't a whole lot of Asian television, but I didn't care. I just wanted good television. And today, I think it got to a point where someone finally realized that if we don't stop this equality movement, then we won't get our reparations. And for some reason, it just all ended.
Yeah. I say I grew up surrounded by, on TV, good black dads, Parenthood, and like Moesha and Family Matters and Sister, and like all these things that
you hate to say Cosby too.
At one point I would have said Cosby because it was a successful black family of like a lawyer and a doctor, and their kids weren't fuck ups. That's all gone. It's there, but in a different way. Like when Alan said there was black TV, it's called UPN. I was watching it too. We had beaten it. That's why it's so alienating to see what they've done, and that now you can't have a gay person in something without someone going. You can't see a white and a black man or a woman together, like an interracial couple, without them going. Did they? Yeah. Was that a?
Well, I brought it up on Friday. It's about black characters, POC characters. They're driven by their identity and not by their character. You have to now. Gay characters have to be oppressed. Black characters have to be oppressed. Asian characters are basically non-existent, and everyone has to have some form of oppression, and that character is defined by their identity. They're no longer defined by their actions.
Yeah.
And that is why storytelling nowadays, that's why people watch storytelling of the past than they do today.
Yeah. Oh, and
because
what you
people
said
were
in the
more
beginning,
nuanced in stories back then.
all those Disney that we used to watch, all of it, at the end of the day, it was
Mhm.
about being a good friend, being loyal to your friends and your family, and just being a good person and trying to do the best thing for everyone. Like all of those movies boiled down to that until they didn't. And
Yep.
then it turned in, something a little bit more nefarious.
Yep.
So return, please just return to basics.
All right. So far, Snoop Dogg has said nothing. And I would just say nothing either. Just walk away, let the statement stand.
I felt like almost universally, most parents were like, right, that's what we're talking about. We're not trying to take our kids and family to a movie and then have to start these life conversations, especially for a 6-year-old.
Yeah. Well, it's the whole 80-20 idea that we're so hyper focused on the 20 that are offended that the rest of the 80 just doesn't care.
Yeah.
And it just it becomes noise now, to where it's like, oh God, another one. Here we go. This week's controversy.
And just so many examples of it not working, of aiming at a very small audience that was never going to be able to sustain your product to begin with, and alienating the larger group because you resent them.